It is time for at least 3 questions with the undefeated UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion of the world, Ronda Rousey, and she'll put her title on the line at UFC 184 against the also undefeated Cat Zingano. And the big news, of course, from Wednesday was the UFC's new drug testing policy, with potential punishments being a 2-year ban for first-time offenders. What was your biggest takeaway from the news conference on Wednesday?
I was extremely encouraged, actually, by what I heard from the conference today. I think that the only way to really control banned substances is to make there be real serious repercussions for them. And as long as people see a possibility for them to test positive and keep competing, then they're going to continue to do it. And now the way their new policy is not just with the 2-year ban, which I think is awesome. I think that the second time that they test positive, they should just have a lifetime ban. Because, okay, a whoopsie once, twice, you know, it's something very serious. It's not like you're hitting a ball farther than the other people and it's not fair. It's you're bringing a weapon into a combat sport and you could really hurt a person. And that's just, it's not forgivable, especially the second time. And I really love that they're having random out-of-competition testing for everybody on the roster all throughout the year. It's much more similar to the policy that I dealt with growing up with the U.S. Antidoping Agency. And I think that they have a fantastic model, and the closer that the UFC is to that model, the better off that they are, and the more they'll be able to address this problem.
Let me ask you about some of the older generation of fighters out there have been testing positive for different drugs over the past year. Most notable, of course, Anderson Silva, who's known as the greatest of all time in this sport. Why do you think the older fighters in the sport are getting popped these days?
Why do I think the older ones?
Yeah, some of the older fighters in the sport keep getting popped.
I don't know. I can't say why anybody would be popped for it, because my mind just doesn't even work in that way. I can't even follow that line of reasoning that would make anyone want to do it at all. But I think that mostly it just comes from insecurity. If people are insecure with their abilities and their technique, they're going to try and find other ways to compensate for it. And I think that insecurity definitely tends to seep in more as the fighter gets older and feels, you know, their youthful reactions leaving them.
All right, let's talk about your fight, UFC 184, coming up next Saturday against Cat Zingano. Every time you're in a fight, I always hear her next competition, oh, this is the toughest competitor yet for Ronda Rousey getting into the octagon. But, you know, with Cat Zingano, she's undefeated. She's overcome a major knee injury. She's overcoming the loss of her husband and her coach. Is this the most resilient fighter that you've had to fight so far in your career?
I definitely think that Kat's the most resilient fighter I've ever fought, not just because of what she's overcome in her life, but also in the fights. It's the fights that she's had. You know, there's times that she's been down and even close to getting finished, and she's come back and finished her opponent every single time. And that's definitely the qualities that I feel like is the most dangerous in her. You know, she has to be finished all the way. There's no way this chick is going to be intimidated. There's no way that she's going to fall a little bit behind and go on a downward spiral. She's someone that needs to be fought and finished until the very, very end. And I think that she's the type of person that's really going to bring the best out of me. And I'm going to be there to show up, and I'm going to be there to fight, and I'm going to win.
Oh, once again, you've won every one of your fights, and you've dominated your fights for the most part. And it's gotten so bad that Dana on Saturday, I think he was joking. He said that if you run through Cat Zingano like you've run through the rest of your competition, then maybe he might have to start matching you up against men. What was your reaction when you heard that?
He's joking, but I'm definitely not making his job easy for him. But it's not my job to make the promoter's job easy. It's my job to walk in there and win as quickly and as efficiently as possible and come out as unscathed as possible. I'm thinking more about making my mother happy than making Dana's job easy.
I always got to make your mom happy every day of your life. Ron, the best of luck to you on UFC 184, and thanks for joining us here on Fox Sports Live.
Thank you.